Story 1. I booked the cabin for a week, thinking it would be a peaceful escape. Somewhere quiet, away from people, away from the noise of the city. I pictured myself reading by the fire, maybe writing, maybe just listening to the snow. The drive there nearly killed me. The snow was coming down in sheets, the kind where your high beams only make it worse. My tires kept sliding on the slick road, and I didn't pass a single other car for miles. By the time my GPS announced I'd arrived, I couldn't even see a driveway, just two faint tracks disappearing into the trees. The cabin was old, not cozy old. Old like the kind of place you find in a black and white photo with no one smiling. Gray wood siding, sagging porch, shutters barely hanging on. But the strangest part was the smoke, a thin gray line rising from the chimney. I froze in the car. The listing said no one else lived there, no caretaker, no neighbors for miles. But smoke means fire, and fire means someone's inside. When I finally worked up the nerve to go in, the place looked empty. Cold, stale air, dust on the counters, no sign of anyone. The fire had burned out hours ago. I told myself it was fine, probably some leftover embers the wind kicked up. That night I sat by the fireplace with a glass of whiskey. The storm outside was violent, battering the windows so hard it rattled the glass. I started to doze off when I heard it. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Footsteps in the snow. I froze, heart hammering. Maybe it was an animal. But the steps were too heavy, too even. 2 steps. Pause, 2 steps. Pause. I grabbed the flashlight and opened the door. Nothing but swirling snow. My beam caught something below. Boot prints. Dozens of them. All leading directly to my door. I scanned the tree line, but the prints didn't lead away. They just circled the cabin over and over. That night, I didn't sleep. The next morning, I found something etched into the frost on the window. A single word written with a fingertip from the outside. S-T-A-Y. By the 3rd night, the knocking started. Soft, polite at first, then harder, more insistent. Always at a different window. Always when I was alone in the room. By the 5th night, I woke up to the sound of breathing. Inside the cabin, just beyond the bedroom door. I didn't check. I packed my things and drove 6 hours through a blizzard to get home. 2 weeks later, the rental company emailed me, asking why I'd left early. They attached a photo from the cleaning crew. It was my bedroom at the cabin, the bed unmade, my suitcase open, and on the wall above the headboard, drawn in what looked like ash or soot, was a single black handprint. Story 2. I've been a truck driver for 15 years. I've seen plenty of strange things on the road, but nothing like that night. It was February, past midnight, middle of a blizzard on Highway 28. My rig was barely crawling forward, the whiteout so bad I couldn't see 10 feet ahead. That's when I saw her. A girl standing on the shoulder of the road, shivering in a thin dress, her long dark hair frozen to her face. Every instinct told me to keep driving. But something about the way she looked, so small, so fragile in that storm, made me slow down. She climbed into the cab without a word. The temperature dropped instantly, and I swear I could see my breath. She whispered an address, a farmhouse, 20 miles down the road. I tried making small talk, asking what she was doing out there, if she was okay. She didn't answer, just stared straight ahead. But in the passenger side window reflection, I could see her lips moving, whispering something over and over. When I dropped her at the farmhouse, she got out without a word. The house looked abandoned, but I was too spooked to question it. The next morning, I stopped at a diner and mentioned it to the waitress. Her face went pale. "That farmhouse burned down years ago," she said, "and the girl who lived there, she died in a wreck on 28. Every winter, truckers see her." That night in my motel, I woke to the sound of my rig's door slamming. I looked out the window, and in the glow of the parking lot lights, I saw her, sitting in the passenger seat again, just staring straight ahead. Story 3. I was home from college for winter break, sleeping in my old bedroom. The first time I heard it, I thought it was the wind. Knock, knock, knock. But the sound was steady, deliberate. When I pulled back the curtain, my heart nearly stopped. A face, pressed against the glass. Pale, frozen skin, cloudy white eyes, lips split from the cold, stretched in a smile. The problem, my room was on the second floor. No tree outside, no ledge, nothing. I stumbled back, blinking, and when I looked again, the face was gone. The next night, it returned. The knocks grew louder, harder. Scratch marks appeared on the glass. My parents didn't believe me until the third night, when they heard it too. We all crowded in my room as the knocking shook the glass. The smiling face pressed harder against the pane. Then, without warning, the window cracked, a thin spiderweb fracture running across the glass. We moved me into the guest room downstairs. But last week, when I came home again, I found new scratches on that upstairs window. From the inside. Story 4. 5 of us went snowshoeing in the Rockies that winter. College friends reuniting, thinking it would be fun. Halfway up the trail, we spotted tracks in the snow. Not ours, someone else's. They led ahead of us for half a mile. Then suddenly, they stopped. No turnaround, no stumble, no explanation. Just ended in the middle of a clearing. That night in our tent, the wind howled like voices. At first, we thought it was the storm. Then one of us swore he heard his name. By morning, one of our friends was gone. His boots, his coat, everything left behind. Just gone. The second night, another vanished. I don't remember much after that. Just voices calling, the snow swallowing everything, shapes moving in the white. When I woke up, I was in a hospital. Frostbite on my hands, lungs burned from the cold. The rangers told me they never found the others. No bodies, no gear, just snow. But I still hear them sometimes, on windy nights. My friends, calling my name. Story 5. The storm hit harder than anyone expected. Power went out on the second night. No heat, no phones, just candles and the sound of the blizzard hammering the house. At 12:03 a.m., there was a knock at the door. A man's voice. "Please, let me in." We looked at each other in disbelief. Who would be outside in that storm? My father grabbed a flashlight and opened the door. No one was there, but boot prints led away into the woods. The next night, the knocking came again, louder, more desperate. By the fourth night, it was pounding. We huddled in the living room as the door shook on its hinges, the voice growing angrier. "Let me in." Then, with a final crash, the lock gave. We never saw what came through. Just the freezing wind, the candles snuffing out, and something rushing inside. When I woke, it was morning. The door was wide open, snow piled into the living room. My parents were gone. And in the snow just outside the door, there were boot prints. 3 sets this time, leading away into the woods.